The worst planche variation is the straddle planche. And I really like the straddle planche. It's the most impressive variation I can perform consistently, and it's a great standalone skill. So what makes it the worst variation? Straddle planche has three problems that make it difficult to program for broadly and make it an unreliable measure of someone's planche strength potential for full planche. I'll go through these problems one by one and tell you what you can do instead to ensure you're getting the most out of your training. Stick around for problem number 3, which is by far the worst offender. And let's start with number 1. The less specific your practice, the less efficient the carryover. And straddle planche does not involve the lower body engagement needed for your full planche. You're unable to squeeze the legs together and engage the glutes. Even though your upper body strength, mainly the shoulders, are what's going to determine your ability to full planche, cues can help. Much like gripping the bar as hard as you can in a deadlift can help you pull more weight. Progressing tuck to open tuck, half lay and one leg progressions where the legs can stay together, and in the case of one leg and half lay, you can also engage the glutes. These might end up being more appropriate to your full planche. The second problem is that to achieve your straddle planche and to improve upon your straddle planche, you need to improve more than just planche strength. You really should also be working on the straddle. And if that works for you, great. That sounds like a really fun training split. Straddle planche and middle splits, both as goals. But if you're doing any other lower body training, and full planche really is your long-term goal, you might consider that work on widening your straddle as time wasted. And if you do have a really tight straddle, I just lost my shirt by the way, if you do have a really tight straddle though, you want to work on improving your adductor, inner thigh flexibility, as well as your hip abduction, your ability to lift the leg up. For adductor flexibility, work on active and passive middle split. For the hip abductors, you can simply hang from a bar and lift the legs out to the side, either with body weight or ankle weights, and perform straight leg fire hydrants. And then the third and biggest problem is, you can probably already assume from the other 2 points, is the straddle planche carries far too much variance person to person. It makes it way too difficult to discuss the straddle planche from a programming perspective with broad application to the general public. For those that can straddle extremely wide, it's no more difficult than a tuck planche, and for those that are very tight in the lower body, it can almost be as difficult as full planche. It makes it essential that the straddle planche be discussed on a case-by-case basis, and that every individual understands where that straddle planche slots on their progression ladder. I put up a poll on Instagram that asked people what they thought was more difficult, the open tuck or the straddle planche, and majority have voted for straddle planche at the time of recording this video. For me, the open tuck by far is the harder variation, but that might be because my straddle is wider than the people that actually voted straddle being harder. Either answer is fine, just make sure you know what that answer is. That way you'll be able to choose appropriate progressions and set realistic planche goals.